I passed by James earlier, well, I guess at lunchtime I had to go. Tia, could you give the invocation?
I'll be happy to. Heavenly Father, please consider our earth, our plants, our livestock. We desperately need some rain. And Heavenly Father, our country is so divided right now that if we could just get back to you and unify, it would be so helpful. So please help us to unify under your leadership, your love, and in your name we pray. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Lupe, do we have any remarks from visitors?
No, sir.
Okay, so we can just go right into item number 4, which is consideration and possible action of the replat application submitted by Ram Navasota LLC for the replat of the property legally described as Giaro, is that it? Guerrero, okay, Guerrero subdivision lot 2R, replat 2022-322317, then S3902 Giaro, I can't say that, 2 subdivision lot 1, S3902 Giaro 2 subdivision lot 2, S3902 Giaro 2 subdivision lot 3, S3902 Giaro 2 subdivision lot 5, S3902 Giaro subdivision lot 6, S3902 Giaro 2 subdivision lot 4, Giaro subdivision lot 3R, replat 2022-322317, Giaro subdivision lot 4R, replat 2022-322317, Giaro subdivision lot 5R, replat 2022-322317. Okay, Lupe?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Whoa.
Get it.
Touche.
Vice Chairman, Planning and Zoning Commission, good evening. Just a quick summary on this. So it's a pretty straightforward replat, although it doesn't read that way, obviously. It's taking 10 lots. A lot of those were existing or remaining portions of the previous replat when Chicken Express developed. And so this replat takes 10 existing lots and plats them into a new name subdivision called RAM into 4 lots. One of the lots will be the future site of the next item, which is a Jack in the Box restaurant. There's 2 other empty pad sites for future developments. And then there's one specific lot, which is, I believe, lot 4, if I'm not mistaken, that is going to be specifically used for detention of all 3 lots. And so if you'll have any questions Nicholas, I'm not gonna say your last name because I'll probably slaughter it, but Nicholas with the
Can't be any worse
SEK
than how I
Engineering
slaughtered it.
is here if y'all have any questions. There it is.
It's my understanding that one of the lots is going to be retention for all of the other. Is that going to be correct, or is it just?
Yeah, that's correct. Dr. Walla, lot number 4, if you look on the plat, it's the bottom left corner. Directly under the Chicken Express site.
Okay.
I'll put it up on the screen too.
Did the replat meet all of the rules and regs?
Yes, ma'am. It's been reviewed. Our engineers went, there were several comments and all of them have been addressed.
I make a motion, we approve the replat application submitted by Ram Navasota. Do I have to say all that?
That's good.
Do I? Okay. I don't have to?
I think we're
I'm
good.
done?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we're,
Okay, good.
we know which item you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I second it.
We have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay, we lift to item number 5, which is consideration of possible action of the preliminary site plan via lieu sidewalk construction application submitted by Ram Navasota LLC for the property located at 2010 Highway 105 East, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas 77868 for the development of the Jack in the Box restaurant. The property affected is legally described as Ram Development Block 1, Lot 1.
Vice Chairman, Planning and Zoning Commission. So again, this is the preliminary site plan for the Jack in the Box restaurant. Staff has been working with our reviewing engineer as well as Nicholas with SEK Engineering on the review of this site plan. Gone through several revisions and finally we're at the completion point. All comments were addressed. There was one outstanding, which is addressed in the staff report. So they are asking for a fee in lieu of sidewalk construction along that County Road 425 right of way, which the total fee totals $7,519.32. And that's from 208 feet of right of way frontage along that county road. And just a little bit of background on Monday regarding that road, council approved the development agreement. So the developer for Jack in the Box has agreed to do significant improvements on that road. I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to drive out there and look, but the existing road is in pretty bad shape, the north and south stretch especially. And so Ram Navasota has entered into a 380 agreement with the city, and they're going to improve that roadway to 30-foot wide pavement and some other drainage improvements. And in a return, the city's going to refund a portion of that cost, but it's going to be based on these 3 sites getting developed. So they'll get a third when Jack in the Box is done, and then the other 2/3 when the other 2 sites get developed. And just a little bit of background on that. And so because County Road 425, the right of way is really, really narrow. It really wasn't feasible for sidewalks, especially with us trying to make sure that that road is adequate for commercial traffic. So all of that came to a head, and you know, as far as staff, we think that the fee in lieu of would be appropriate for this situation, because they were already working with a really, really tight right of way and a really tight site there. And again, Nicholas with SEK Engineering is here if y'all have any questions.
The fee in lieu of is for the north-south on Durden or on the frontage of 105?
Durden, yeah. This is
Durden.
labeled as Durden, but that's actually that County Road 425.
That's 425?
Yeah,
And when you're talking about doing a third of the work as each of those 3 lots are developed,
mhm.
so that means you're doing part of Durden and then part of Durden and then part of Durden again and working all the way around the corner, or just a third of the north-south piece?
No, so let me demonstrate it on the site plan here. Flipped it the wrong way. So what the developer is improving is only this portion, the north and south
Okay.
direction, and they stop about 15 to 20 feet around the bend. So the total cost of this, the city is going to pay back a third of that cost, and that third is split into 3/3.
Okay.
And they'll be refunded with Jack in the Box, this pad site, and this pad site are developed.
They do the whole piece and they get reimbursed as the land is developed?
Correct.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. And so the sidewalk, you know, they have it along 105.
They will
But-
put the 105 sidewalk in?
Yes, 105 is
And
there.
Chicken Express has the sidewalk as well?
Correct.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I was, okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
they'll tie
I'm
in
following
there.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll tie in there.
Yeah,
And here, like I said, it was just really, really tight. It's only about 40 feet. That's lower than any of our established right of ways in the city. And so to make it work, that was the best route.
On the Durden Street there, from Jack in the Box, is it a way to get out on that back street on Durden Street?
Close
from
to
Jack in
the
the Box?
highway and everything like
Yes.
that.
So here there'll be a shared access easement across the front of Chicken Express, and that other pad site here. This is that vacant pad site.
Right.
Here's the Chicken Express site. So there'll be access along stripes to come across here, and then there's also a rear drive onto that roadway, that County Road 425 Durden. So there is.
Also
So they can go right and left as they exit?
Yes, correct. And there's another one up here as well.
There'll be 2 exits.
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Okay. The numbers on that agenda 5, they don't match. The 75-1932, and then down there under budgetary and financial summary, they're different numbers. One is a 9, the fourth digit is a 9 at the top, and then it's a 0. See that?
Oh, yeah, that's a typo. That should be, here, I can do the math really quick.
Okay.
I'm shorting us $9 there. Yeah, it should be that 510 actually. So the one in the budgetary information, that one's the correct one. So it's $7,510.32.
Okay.
So we're looking at a preliminary site plan and a fee in lieu of sidewalk construction
Correct.
in this.
Mhm.
So we're looking at 2 things, not one.
Yes.
Okay.
How many people live on Durden Street there?
don't know exactly offhand, but I know that there's at least probably 6 or 7 homes along the south side of Durden, and I know 2 on the north side. So probably around 10 or so residences. But depending on how many people live in those homes, maybe a dozen or so, maybe a little more, just depending on how many.
No, I was,
households.
structure. Stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Structures is about 8 or 9.
So I have a few questions for Nicholas. Can you come up to the, thanks. I'm still learning my way through interpreting these kinds of drawings.
So am I, so don't worry.
So Lupe, can you go back to the SD 1.1 that you started with?
Sure.
So there is a line here.
Yes.
That follows some waves, and it has an FL mark on it. Is that for a flow level of the
That
ditch?
is an existing roadside ditch, and that shows basically the flow of the water. So there's an existing ditch on the north side of Durden that comes east and then comes
Yeah.
under the
Okay.
road currently and drains southeast.
Okay.
So so that's just, that's a flow line.
And that's what's there now.
That's which way the
And
water's
that's,
going.
and that's that's the direction the water's going.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's also where your
So right now,
outflow is here.
yes, sir.
Okay, I
So
just want to let everybody know that when you watch this and you read these numbers, you'll see that it dips, it rises,
Yes,
and
it's
it
not-
lowers again. So we're gonna have standing water in that ditch when that outflow comes out of that.
correct. And I think we had talked with Lupe, either the owner or somebody kind of just what we call regrading the ditch.
Sure.
Just to get, and that stuff is pretty common. I'm sure you guys see it all the time. It's just a lack of maintenance. You know,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
grows, trash,
Yeah,
stuff gets in there, and you'll have ups and downs. So, the thought was maybe regrading or at least clearing.
Yeah,
or mowing that
we've
just
tried to
get-
have these discussions going around, and I don't know, at some point it'd be great if we could have yet another development fee put in to
Yeah, I
get
know,
ditches
no, I
fixed.
know, yeah,
But we have a big problem because half of our ditches aren't city ditches.
right.
And we can't really control that. So, but here what we have is a detent pond that's going in for several acres.
Yeah.
And we already have a ditch that's not
Yeah.
not an optimal ditch.
And so, and when they come in and they do that outflow structure right here, they'll probably smooth it out.
Okay,
And then also keep in mind that there's what they call a restrictor. So it restricts the amount of flow that comes out. It's not just everything goes in that pond and flows
Sure,
out.
I
It
mean,
restricts it down to the,
you're
theoretically.
coming out with in an 8-inch or 12-inch.
Right,
Yeah.
according to the codes, it needs to restrict to what the existing runoff would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
on all those tracks currently. So there's a little bit of math involved. You size the pipe, so it's only
Yeah,
letting
yeah.
out X amount of cubic feet that was there previously without any development.
And
So there
it's
is a
supposed to dump in 24 hours. Yeah. Okay, well, that's that map. Let me find my next one. 7D 2.5, are these ICFs that you're using to make drainage lines?
Let me just show me where you.
This is SD 2.5.
Yeah, I think that's your hydrology chart.
Yeah, this. So are these actually like ICFs that you're utilizing in component systems in order, all these forms?
Those are, I think, is that for the trench drain detail?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just and almost as a standard, that's just for a trench detail that will be put on the property at.
And that's going to be under the lot? That's how you put the
But
line
just in
in?
one area, if I could think it's at the north driveway, just instead of putting an inlet there, it's just that's a standard detail.
So that's just going across the face of the driveway?
Yes, it's just
Okay,
to collect
okay.
water. That's
And then-
not like the outfall structure or anything like that.
Okay, because it's hard to look at the map and see how this is
Yeah, I know,
connected to the other drainage.
It's on that north driveway just to catch that water, so we're not dumping it into the street. And that will flow into.
But where does the end of that go? Because it doesn't look like it ties into the drainage line where you have
There's, if you go to.
the A box that's on the side of the building in the drive-through. 'Cause I'm assuming what you're saying is that goes across the face of that. But all I see is a drain line there, a J box here, and another surface drain here, and all the water on this side of the lot is coming down.
If you go to the, I think
drain
it's
there.
SD 3.0, I believe that is where you'll find the drainage plan. for
Yeah,
SD.
3.0, yeah. But I see two surface connections,
Right,
because the J box is not connected to the surface, that's underground,
correct.
correct?
So,
So there's a surface box A that's at the drive-through. Right there.
so there should be a
And there's
connection.
a
and
J
maybe-
box here, and then there's a surface drain here.
Right,
So why do you take this entire side of the lot and push all the water to this end and not have like another drain buried up there to get water underground early?
simply just cost.
Dollars.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just dollars.
So, yeah, it's really dollars and, not to get too technical, but there's certain amount of distance that you can really try to flow water. So usually like
Yeah, I know. You
400
want to keep
feet,
it
and all the,
this high.
all the developer stuff, they always say eliminate as many inlets as you can. You know what I mean? So it's just a cost thing.
Yeah, I look at it as shoes.
Yeah,
I mean, the farther you get to this end of the lot, the more water you're
correct.
accumulating.
You're
I mean,
absolutely
I
right.
know you're saying that it's this much flow at this rate and it's the same height, it just flows faster.
Right, yeah.
Right, but that's not the way my shoes take it.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, and that's just honestly, like I said, the cost saving measure for
Okay.
the developer, or the contractor. Usually the contractor, well, developers and contractor are both like, hey, pull out as many inlets as you can, Sometimes it's possible. This is a relatively small site. We do, we also do a lot of work in like some
Yeah.
big industrial parks, and they're like, there's too many inlets. It's like, you have a 35-acre site, like.
And
what do you want us to
it's
do?
all hardscape.
Yeah, exactly. It's just all pavement, and they're like, it's too many inlets. So it's like, well, I
And-
can't flow water 500 or 600 feet down, no. You're gonna get standing water,
Got
and, that's, I know you don't want to put it in, but whoever buys that building is gonna be mad when they're sitting there trunced through water. So-
Right, well, I just look at it too, before you pave it all over, you've got the opportunity to put something underground. Once
Right,
you
yeah.
pave it, you don't, so.
Correct,
And I'm not a developer, so, so let's see, my other question about the water was, the stormwater calculations. I mean, I have this question all the time, and it's just something that we have to deal with, which is, all these numbers are US Geologic and NOAA numbers, and none of them account for our flash rains. These are all, 100-year floods,
Correct.
36
Yeah, I
inches,
think-
36 inches in 48 hours.
Right, yeah.
That's not the way it rains. We get 5 inches of rain in an hour and a half, and it's a tremendous amount of water. And I know that the pond is big enough. These tables, it looks like all these calculations are not done for the entire space, all the acreage, yet the two undeveloped spaces are going to be dumping into
Yes.
this detent pond. So what's with the
So
calculations
those
not
calculations
including?
are for the storm sewer that we're doing on our site. So the pipes that you see on the Jack in the Box development.
Okay,
I think next door, I think they're talking with Starbucks about developing a Starbucks over there. They will do their own calculations. What we did is we sized the pond. I think it's 25, but whatever y'all's criteria is, or whatever they are, the pond is sized off of that. But those calculations are just to show you that, hey, our pipe sizes that we're putting in our site are
Yeah.
adequate.
I see you scale up. You're going from a 15 to an 18
Yes,
to a 24.
Exactly.
I mean,
And then-
yeah, because you're bringing in, you need a 24 here.
Yep.
Because you're bringing in this lot and this lot.
Yeah,
So
you-
you need to be big, so
Yes,
you're going, I
correct.
think it's 15 to 18 to 24.
That's usually about what.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, but I guess for me, I want to know that the calculations for the size of this pond
They account for all of the sites.
account for all, and do they account for all of it being hardscape?
Yes, that's how we did it. Yeah. Basically, if we said if this is all pavement or 95% pavement,
Okay,
what's the runoff?
because
What would it be? And then and that's how we size the pond. The calculations you're looking at.
because the calculations here don't have the whole area. It's only
that's really-
2.18
It's really
acres.
two different things.
Okay.
Right? It's
I just want to
size
know
of
that the
pond, yes,
ponds,
sir.
because I've tried to do some of this math. It's really hard
Have any
to.
question we're gonna have, but yes, you're
Yeah,
absolutely right. It's two different calculations.
okay.
What you're looking at is me basically saying, hey, guys, these are the pipes we're putting in. They meet your criteria. These are the years, the events that you asked us
Right.
to calculate for our site. That's
Okay.
more of a pipe calculation.
So-
for our site.
So when we get,
pond.
when we get the other developers,
They
that-
should provide you with
and,
theirs.
and we need to watch their pipe diameters because,
But if you notice, so we're stubbing out.
yeah, you're
to the-
stubbing out 18s. and-
Yeah, I think there should be a 20.
That's a 24 stub
Yeah.
north, and I think it's, I think, I know one of them was just
I think we did an
24.
18 and a, so we got
That was a
24, and two
they're both
24s coming out.
24s,
So that is, so we know that, so we do when we calculate the pond, okay, what's the total runoff for all the sites? You know, and then we run it through our pipe, and we know that it will all fit through that 30 linear foot, 24-inch pipe going in.
Right.
So we just said, okay, let's give the other two developments 24-inch pipes. We know 24-inch will carry it. It might be oversized, but we don't want to stub out an 18-inch.
And
They say,
yeah,
hey, I need, you know, I
Right.
can't make my calculations work through an 18-inch, you know,
Right.
so we know if everything will go through 24, those two sites will go
Okay.
through a 24.
all right.
And so that's what you're looking at is those pipe calculations for the jack site, but you're correct. The pond has been sized to account for
For the complete
hardscape for
acreage.
all,
Okay.
X amount of acres.
All right.
And you'll notice, just to kind of bring it up so there's no confusion, so you'll see that Chicken Express north of us, they're coming into us.
Yeah, and they're dumping into a pond already.
But their flow is restricted down into our pond. So originally, when we came in, they were just sheet flowing across our property.
Yes,
With-
yeah,
and
they
I
had
think
a
were
right, they had
proposing
an easement, yeah.
Yes, they were proposing an easement, so we worked with them. So basically, if you took, I guess now, 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 sites, between their pond and our pond, the total volume adds up to
Right,
1. And then we had to do a restrictor, so like I said, to account for the 3 sites that, you know, RAM is working on, as well as the Chicken Express. So it's all basically what we did is we looked at the entire site, all of those sites, figured out the runoff existing, and then sized our restrictor when we add that pond plus our pond, and then we restrict it back down to the existing runoff.
Okay,
To, you know, theoretical runoff, right? I mean,
and then,
you know,
And-
so
the other question I had, which is just a drawing question,
Okay.
is what are the 3 blocks that show up at the bottom on a couple of things? They're
Those are,
like little trapezoids. that
those
kind
are
of-
the existing driveways where the previous.
yeah, those are
okay,
existing.
okay.
They're like little
They're just
gravel
kind of on the map, and I
Yeah,
just
they're
couldn't see
there. We
exactly
just
what
wanna
they
show
were.
'em. I mean,
Okay,
some people like to see what's there. I
yeah.
mean, I have a feeling they'll probably clear those out
Oh, sure.
when
yeah.
they dig the pond, but you're talking about those, those
Yeah,
are just
yeah, it was just
little.
really confusing to me. I couldn't
Yeah,
quite,
they're just little driveways
Okay.
that were there. I think when they bought the site, there was actually some mobile homes or something
Yeah.
right there.
Mhm.
And so those are probably their driveways that were existing off the side of the road. They're just, you know, survey, when they go out and they take the survey, you know, they show, because
Yeah, they show
sometimes
it.
people will reuse those driveways. I'm sure, have you seen? But that's just existing driveways, you know, that were there when basically, I think they're probably gravel. They might be asphalt, but I bet you they're probably gravel.
Yeah, they're all gravel.
Or something like
And
that.
then,
Yes, sir.
and then part of the road work, you're gonna be putting in the culvert as well, that's a new
Yeah,
culvert.
there's going to be a
Yeah.
culvert underneath that you see at the corner.
Does-
And then there's another set of plans. This is, I believe, Lupe, you tell me if I'm wrong. This set of plans is, actually, I know it is because we're looking at it. This is for the Jack in the Box.
Mhm.
Right.
There's a separate set of plans that Lupe and his team has been reviewing for the street. So there's a little bit more detail with the street,
Okay.
but yes, there's gonna be a culvert, and then we're gonna put a curb cut on that northeast curb at the corner. So basically, water will come down. So everything on the, I guess, your west side of the road will go west and then flow under. Everything on the east will flow down, and then there's gonna be like a curb cut, so it can come down, and then there's a ditch where it flows, and then that's where it's all going right now as well. You know what I mean? It all comes down well, you can't see the ditch up there now because the road has been filled in, but we're gonna carry now all that water down the road is what we think we decided with Lupe and his group. They said, let's just bring it down and.
Does that sort of just flat out into the field, or is that another ditch?
No, so that's actually
Or a
a
creek
small
there.
creek that
Yeah, there's a
leads to
creek there.
It
Okay,
leads to
yeah.
Sandy Creek.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
look at it on like.
It's a vein of a bigger creek.
Okay.
If
well,
you
that's
look on the
good,
Google Earth,
rather
you
than
can
just
kind of
going
follow
into
the
a
tree
field.
line and you'll see,
Okay.
and that's where all that stuff goes currently. Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
that
So
little
here's the
tree
big
line that
creek.
goes into that, yeah.
And is the entire lot going to be curbed, that drain B? Is that taking all the water, or is there gonna be some cuts there that are gonna kind of drain into the other lot?
No, everything.
It's 100% curbed.
Yes, everything, you know, theoretically, every drop of water or drop of rain should be collected in that storm sewer that we are proposing
Okay.
and taken to the pond. That's the idea. You don't ever want to dump on someone else's property, you know.
Yeah,
No, there will be a curb down there. Eventually, when someone comes in, they'll cut that curb out, so, that someone can come in that driveway and come into their property. But, they'll collect their own water. But as of right now, let's say that, theoretically, nobody comes in. That water, we will not be dumping any water on that south side.
Okay. And you're raising the grade a couple of inches?
Yeah, because
It's
I don't
like
know if y'all familiar are with the area, but there's a pretty steep.
Well, Chicken Express is tremendously brought in a lot
Yes.
of grade.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But you're not. It looked like
We're bringing in
two or
a
4
fair
inches.
amount,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're trying to keep, again, cost cutting measure. He didn't want to raise it too much, but there's from basically north to south coming down Durden, it was, I want to say like 8 or 10 feet difference in elevation. It
Oh,
was,
really?
it was significant. And so, yeah, they're bringing in, I think finished floor is like 241, and like, you look down at the bottom, I think that's like 233. Those little light numbers,
Yeah.
light numbers, those are the
Yeah,
existing grades. So
232s,
they're putting a fair amount of fill in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
And
I
I think that when they're coming in, he's gonna fill, I don't know, I don't want to, speak out of turn, but I think they have a deal with the Starbucks that's going in to the west that he's gonna fill all of it. So it's, we're not sitting up here.
Well, that was when the Chicken Express was going, that was one of my questions to them. So you're putting
Yeah.
all this grade in, what's the guy next to you
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
He
So-
has no choice, right? He's
Yeah.
got to or it's going to be really wonky, or somebody's going to have to build a retaining wall or something like that.
Yeah, and
But
so I
you-
think
But
that-
you're on the,
Yeah.
not quite as steep as what they had to deal
Yeah,
with.
I think, like I said, I don't know what the timetable is, and you may know better than I do for the Starbucks, but I believe part of their agreement is to basically raise the whole site. So when they are doing construction and when they're complete, yes, we have a curb, but if we're 4 feet, if we're sitting up on an island at 4 feet, you're going to get runoff, you're going to get water. So I think he's going to bring everything up at the same time. That's what I understand. And I can, I can double check with the owner what his plan is, but I believe to bring I know eventually the whole site will be brought up, obviously, because you don't want a building up here,
Yeah.
down here. But yeah, I think that they're going to bring everything up.
You're all kind of using the same road in, so you
Yeah,
can't,
exactly.
you can't
Yeah,
be
yeah.
too far
That
off
was
from
it.
each
Yeah.
other.
No, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate your time. Right?
Yeah, no problem. And just one other comment. So we're putting those 2 driveways in, and you asked about the sidewalk. We are putting a sidewalk along 105, but you'll notice it's kind of lower than where it is. We are also putting in and I know this doesn't necessarily affect you guys because it's a tech stop, but we're putting a deceleration lane in on 105. We had originally tried to see if we could, eke out a driveway from them, and they're like, no, it's already kind of people are already trying to jock for position, trying to get in front of each other when it goes down to 1 lane. We don't want any more driveways. So we settled on putting that, and you can see there, that curb line, right? Yeah, that's
Cool.
it's going to be proposed. I mean, I guess technically on this drawing, it should be existing but we're doing it on another set of plans with TxDOT that they've approved that. So that deceleration lane will be in there, and then we'll put in, the sidewalk across our property. And then obviously, whatever Starbucks does, I assume that they'll put one in there in lieu of paying the fees, because it would be weird. We have a sidewalk, no sidewalk. Chicken Express has their
They'll
sidewalk.
be hard to get.
Yeah,
that
just,
past
I mean, I guess
that
the law,
approval.
but I would think that they would put it in there too.
Yeah.
And I wrote, I got 75, 10, 32 is the fees. And I'll make off that as soon as I leave here, I'll tell Mark, because he said, yeah, let's just do that. We don't really have room to put a sidewalk even if we wanted to. So we'll definitely get those fees taken care of. We got the plat taken care of. We pulled off that right of way limit, and that's in works. I think our surveyor talked to, he said the county, maybe it was the county or you guys today, and it's on its way.
Okay.
So
good
that's all cleared up. So everything, everything's in motion. And then, like I said, I don't think there's anything. I think we finally figured out the utility issues. We were trying to determine where we should pull our utilities. We're going to come across Durden, and it turned out one of the lines was abandoned. Then we're going to go to 105, but we got all that cleared out. I talked to Mark. He's good with, stubbing out to each of those future pads. And so everything is kind of in working order finally.
I'm done with the water questions.
James, do you have any questions?
No.
Do you?
No, sir.
Do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. No, thank you. Run with it.
I make a motion that we approve the preliminary site plan and the fee in lieu of sidewalk construction application submitted by Ram Navasota LLC.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Harris and Commissioner Dia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none, motion carries.
Okay.
Leads us to item number 6, which is consideration of possible action approval of the minutes of the meeting of July 14th, 2022 as presented.
Good to me.
I think I'll approve it.
So move on the minutes.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, none, motion carries. Leads us to the next item, which is adjournment. 6:35.
6:35.
Thank you.
Okay. Now that we're adjourned. Going back to the minutes, I recall that James had a really good thought and question that, people who are making a presentation or making a request need to be present at our meeting. So what action have we taken towards that end?
I mean, like we do every project application, we always reach out to the project rep that's assigned on the application. And I mean, that's a criteria that we ask of them. Now, whether they show up to the meeting or not, right? I mean, that's something that's out of our control. Everyone tells us they're coming. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't, right?
But if we make a decision that we want somebody here and we table that, then we run into the timeline issue. If we table something.
There's certain items that are on a shot clock per
Yeah,
se,
so which
especially when
item-
it comes to plating.
Right.
So I think in those situations, you wouldn't want to table a plat because on a plat, you either have to deny it or approve it.
Right.
But there's other things that you could table or postpone. And I think with our Robert's rules, it's probably postponed till the next meeting. So you could do that. And yeah, I mean, I encourage everyone,
So it's only plat that has the time?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, plats.
that's all
and-
right,
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
plats. And most of the time, those are fairly straightforward.
I don't think we really, they're not the ones we question.
Right,
Plats are
exactly.
pretty straightforward most of the
Mhm.
time. Okay.
Yeah, but we tell every applicant, please show up to the meeting. And if they don't, I tell them there's a chance that your item may be skipped or not voted on if you're not here to speak your case. So,
Yeah, I think James made a really important point.
I do too, Thea.
And, so I'd like to be sure we follow up on that.
yeah, I mean, we tell that to every applicant.
Down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't show up, we're
So,
not giving you.
glad
what
Nick
you
came
want,
today.
and now you got 30 days worth of expenses on
Yeah,
it, right?
good thing.
If you want your thing passed, come on.
Thank you.
And this
Yeah.
guy is so prepared.
A couple of times.
Engineering.
Okay.
Since his
Thanks,
son.
Dr. Wall.
I get this green kid and I ask him questions. He wasn't the one that drew it and he doesn't, and